If you've been following this channel for a while, you might know a little bit about our food growing journey here. We bought these 4 acres of land with lots of mature fruit and nut trees and a couple of really nice flat fields which were previously used for veggie cultivation, and it's in one of these main fields in front of the house and in front of our main water deposit where we've been gardening for the last 3 years. I started off with a big garden. My first summer here, after fixing the water, we had about 22 beds, which was a lot, and it had taken me a really long time to build them, prepare the soil and plant them up, and we had a really lovely big garden and some amazing harvests. I planted all sorts of things, and since it was my first real season growing in this climate, it was really useful to try out such a variety and learn about what worked well here. But there were some problems with this garden which became apparent in my second year. I had surgery on Monday, and honestly I thought I'd be back to normal in a couple of days, but that has not been the case. It's kind of frustrating walking around because I'm seeing things I want to do and I'm not sure if I can do them. Things didn't get much easier in the summer garden either, with a difficult pregnancy which saw me stuck on the sofa or in hospital for many months. The garden quickly became overgrown, out of control and a source of stress. Clearly I was not going to be able to do any gardening this season, yet I felt like if I had just left the garden totally alone it would become so overgrown and chaotic that all the work I'd put in the year before would be undone. It was really hard for me to let the garden go. I did just about manage to keep on top of the small amount of stuff I'd planted before I became unwell, with a lot of help from my mum, but I realised that as I entered into the years of my life where I'm going to be raising young children, I needed a garden that was a source of joy and not a source of stress. Something easy to manage, productive, somewhere where I could be with kids that was easy to walk through, somewhere that if I needed to I could leave for a season without it getting out of control. I realised I also needed something much smaller probably, and I kind of came to the conclusion that it was a good opportunity to try out raised beds. I would like to make raised beds in the whole garden area if it works out, but I decided to start with just one. The first one I decided to build is here directly in front of the kitchen. So the first job was to trim back an overhanging lemon tree and pull out any weeds that were growing in this space, and I then began to mix up some cement mortar so I could begin building the stone wall. I decided to build this bed with stone because I thought it would look attractive in front of the house and kind of fit with the aesthetics that we have up here by the house. Stone is also free and abundant, although it did take me a while to collect all the stones we needed. Most of the stone for this project I had collected over the course of a couple of months, bringing 1 or 2 back with me every time I went out on a dog walk and piling them here for future use. Obviously I won't be making all the beds in the whole garden with stone, but I was curious to see how long it would take, so this bed was a really good experiment in many senses. Meanwhile, we also began working on tidying up our favourite outside seating area. Yes, the area around this iconic concrete table which we love so much. It had got a little bit messy over the last months, and we have some big plans for this area which I'll tell you about later, so we needed to begin tidying it up. I want to wash these chairs. I also fixed up another chair which originally had elastic cord holding it all together, and that lasted about 2 weeks in the Spanish sun before turning brittle and disintegrating, so I used a more durable cord to fix it instead. We've got a dead palm tree here.
What?
Just saying, we've got a dead palm tree.
Yeah.
There's a pond under there which has been dry for a long time. I think we're gonna get rid of the pond. It was quite nice having the pond there when we actually remembered to fill it with water and keep it topped up, but the problem was we just never did, so it kept drying out and yeah. We just don't really need more sources of water, so I don't know why we made it in the first place really. Oi!
This tree is clearly dead. It
Yeah.
hasn't had any leaves since we've had it.
It's very dead, look at it.
So what we're gonna do is try to like cut it sort of like here and keep this part of the wood because it looks really nice, and maybe we thought we could eventually like carve it and make some sort of like decorative, some sort of totem without trying to culturally appropriate anything, and then just chop the rest for firewood.
Yeah.
And then plant other trees around here. But yeah, this tree is just serving no purpose.
I've been looking forward to peeling this bark off for so long. This is finally the time we get to do it.
No way.
Whoa, it's super wobbly.
Whoa.
It's amazing it hasn't fallen down in a storm.
Yeah, so surprising.
Should I move away?
I'm not gonna move it more, but yeah.
Well, it won't be so wobbly when it hasn't got all its branches on it, will
Yeah,
it?
maybe it's like really top heavy at the moment. But how are we gonna cut all the way up there?
Oh, no, cut it like here.
We'll try.
Ow! Oh, there's a spider in it.
Not too.
Okay, you're doing this. There's too many animals here.
Whoa, another lizard!
Not attached to its leg.
I think so.
I'm so happy with how this is looking so far. I'm quite surprised how quickly it's gone up. It's a little bit tricky on the outside because I'm trying to make it look neat, so I'm trying to find like stones that look nice and not have too much cement showing because it's gonna be the side that's visible, like from the front. Also trying not to have any super spiky bits of stone sticking out too much to like bash your legs on. So it's a little bit slower along the front wall, but yeah, a lot quicker than I thought. I would really love to finish this today so that I can fill it with compost tomorrow and plant a few seedlings in it, but we're out of sand. There are a few bags up the track, I think, from a delivery that we had where we were getting the roof done, so I think I will go and grab those with the car. Bit annoying, wish I'd thought of that when I was out with the car doing something else, but yeah, I really want to crack on with this and finish it, so I'm going to go and grab those bags. Might as well get some water as well. I think we've got an empty container here. Little by little the walls started to go up. It was the first time I'd built anything with stone, and yeah, there is definitely an art to it, which I definitely haven't mastered, but at the same time it is just a garden bed, so I didn't spend too long selecting the perfect stone every time. If it kind of fitted without wobbling off, it was good enough for me. Finally, the front section was done, which took the longest as I was kind of trying to make it look nice, and then it was just the back wall left to do, making sure the height was as even as possible all the way around. I know I could have used a string line to help me out with the height, but I didn't and it worked out fine. You know what, should we put the last rock on? Is this the rock that I want here?
It looks like it belongs here.
Looks like it belongs here.
Yeah, it just looks like it's been here the whole time.
What's the time? I was thinking about sending you out to go and get some compost this evening. Oh, I think that's the last stone.
It looks awesome, huh? It's really nice. It just looks like it belongs here. It just blends into the style of everything that's around it. So you did a really good job.
Thanks. So we're going to go and get some compost today to fill the raised bed. Not sure how much it's going to need. Well, it's going to need quite a lot, but I'm going to get as much as we can fit in the car and see where we get to with it. So I did buy a tree. I know it's probably a bit late to be planting trees, but I've got a really specific place in mind for it where I think it's going to do really well. So I think it'll be fine. So they actually only had 4 bags in the shop. That was the last that they had. So it's obviously not going to be anywhere near enough, but we are going to put in some donkey manure. Going to bring a few more buckets along here. I'm going to put some straw. I might put some branches and stuff like that at the bottom as well. So we'll see how far we get. Okay, the next challenge to solve is water. So the water for these beds will come from our main deposit for the time being, and we've got to get that water up over the little terrace wall there, if you can just about see it. Little stone wall, and over the other side of that is the bed in front of the kitchen. There's the kitchen. We have our pump here, which sits usually on this corner of the deposit, nice and close to the garden where we're using it. And I think what I want is to have like a permanent hose extension always available to plug into the pump there. So I'm going to pull this one across. Okay, so that hose will just live here and goes up that wall in that lemon tree, over the back of the wall and into the bed. And I think what I will do is put like a a little joining part here so that I can either plug in this extension that goes up over the wall or an extension that I can use just in this area of the garden, because we're going to have beds here. Well, we do have beds, but there's nothing in them at the moment. We will be growing stuff along here as well, so we'll need to water that. I saved some chives which were growing in here before and were looking very sorry for themselves, so we will replant those. That's a nice thing to have right outside the kitchen. Stuff that we use all the time in the kitchen. I'm actually quite surprised that 4 bags has gone this far. We've got a bit of space here for a nice thick layer of mulch, so might actually be alright just with the 4. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Are you going to help me plant my plants?
Yeah, I need to do one little bit of life admin, but yes.
Oh, I actually need your help with one more thing.
What? You buy a new tree?
I did buy a tree.
What is it? What do you buy?
It's an apple tree.
Oh, nice.
To replace one of the apple trees that died.
Is this apple tree alive?
I mean, they wouldn't have sold it to me if it was dead, would they? I've got a space in mind for it, so...
Is it on the root of the...
Not really. Not really.
Where does it go?
I'll show you. So I want to put it just...
What?
I want to put it just here, like in front of this bath for the ducks, because when we empty out the water and change the water, we can just tip the water right there onto the tree.
Okay.
It'll never be a bad thing to have a tree just here. It can be like within the full size run when we make it bigger.
Yeah.
So it's a weird place to put it now, but I think I think it makes sense. What's Humilia? What happened?
Oh no! You shoveled too hard.
Totally broke. No, I didn't. It was just rotten, I guess. I'm actually quite upset.
Oh, that shovel was rubbish. The round ones are so much better.
It's good for shoveling the right kind of thing. Oh no, it's not.
Let's see what Mommy's doing.
We need to cover this with straw ASAP so it doesn't just become the new litter tray
Yeah.
for the cats. Can you imagine?
Look at that good stuff.
Okay, if you don't like bugs and grubs and things like that, you might want to skip ahead now. Look what I found underneath these bales of straw. They're enormous. Ugh. At least as long as my finger. Ah, I wonder what they are. What are you? Gonna just cover them again with this one. But yeah, every time I need some straw, I just come and get a bale from around the polytunnel. They've been here for over a year at this point, so they're getting quite broken down, which is good. I think it's better to add them to the garden when they're a little bit pre-decomposed, because that's the aim, really, I guess, that they do eventually integrate and decompose into the soil. So if they've been kind of pre-aged a little bit, I think that's good. Okay, so what are we planting here? We've got the thyme, bush that I have rescued from another part of the garden where we will definitely be doing the beds again. So this was the last thing in that bed, so I pulled it out, and it'd be good to have thyme and rosemary right outside the kitchen. I'll probably add some other herbs later, but I don't have any in pots ready to plant up apart from these two at the minute. And then not a lot of variety because there wasn't a whole lot in the co-op this morning, but we've got some lettuces, we've got some peppers and some tomatoes at the back, which will make shade for a whole load of lettuces at the front. And you've got these, which are ornamental, can't remember the name, I will put it on the screen. So up near the house should be good for them. Well, there we go, a finished project. Not often you get one of these on our channel, so consider yourself lucky. I think it looks really good. It's gonna look even better when we tidy up everything out the front of the house, but it's a good start. It was quite hard to plant the lettuces because the mulch layer is really deep, so you just have to dig a big hole and push them in as far as they will go, but they're quite delicate. I think they will be fine, but yeah, you just have to sort of push them in and hope for the best. It literally took me about 10 minutes to plant this bed, or less even. The soil was just so nice, it was just so easy to like dig a little hole with your finger and poke the plant in, which is exactly what we were going for. I really hope that having put the effort into this bed, we get a lot out of it. We were planning to do a few more stone beds up by the house. I mean, they are quite a lot of work, but I think it's worth it for the aesthetics. It's a nice look up by the house, so we are planning to do a couple more just here. I'll show you. So this bed right in front of the house has never been very successful. It's got the same problem that this bed had. The soil was just really shallow. So building up is definitely a good idea here. And I think sort of towards the back where it's a bit harder to access, I'm going to put in a lot of, I don't know, lavender bushes probably, and just have a bit of a lavender thing going on here. And then you can see my idea with these paving stones was just to begin to build a little bit of a path around the back of what will be one bed here. And then another little bed here, and they won't be huge, but that's the point, just small spaces that we can really easily maintain and access. Actually, I laid the first stone for this one the other day, so it is officially started, this project. And then we also have this little bed outside the house, which again, the soil is really shallow, so I would like to build this bed up with bricks, paint everything, render everything and paint it white, and have like a taller white flower bed type thing going on out here. And I might even extend it around the edge and have it going along this side of the house as well. Meanwhile, we have still been working on tidying up our outside areas. I collected a load of old pallet pieces which were lying around the finca. You would be surprised how much was just lying around all over the place. I have no idea how it got there, but there we go. I collected it all up and cut it down into smaller pieces to use as firewood. We're also still pruning trees. This is one of our loquat trees. I didn't want to take too much off because it provides shade to the chicken coop, but we do find that our loquat trees produce a huge amount of quite small fruit, which is just really fiddly and annoying to harvest and process. So hopefully by thinning it out at this time of year, we'll get some bigger fruits, which are just a bit more efficient to use. And here we also have a loquat tree which seems to have died, so I'm cutting it down and trying to just tidy up this area, make it all look a bit neater. So dead trees are going. We will use this wood as firewood. It's been dead for some time, so the dead wood snaps apart really easily, makes it really easy to break up all the little branches for kindling. Okay, this is going to take a while to get through this whole tree, but it's going to be worth it because we are going to get so much kindling for next year. You know when you're working on something and then you suddenly start thinking, doubting whether it's the job that you should be working on, and then you get distracted by something else. Like I just got distracted moving a load of olive prunings into a pile where we can chip them, and yeah, I really need to stop doing that because then you end up with two jobs, half done, badly done. Okay, you know I love the mini electric chainsaw, I use it all the time and it's so useful, but this wood is dead and it's quite hard, and It's yeah, it really eats through the battery of this mini electric chainsaw and our big battery powered chainsaw as well. When we started this project of cutting down this big dead tree on the corner, we were planning like within that week to buy a petrol powered chainsaw, but that didn't really work out with our budget this month, so we will have to wait for that. So that tree is still standing there for now, but as you can see, we have started to move some of the outdoor kitchen-y type stuff over here, like the pizza oven and a table. And we are planning to build a bit of an actual outdoor kitchen around this area. We're hoping to have like almost like a semicircle around this edge of worktop space, and we'll have the pizza oven, and we're close to our favourite concrete table, of course, where we can sit. And we just think that this is going to give us a bit more space to eat and to cook and to hang out, especially since we can spill out over to the other side as well, where we've got some seating area in front of the deposit. And it's just a really nice shaded area, and it gives us a little bit more space than where we originally had the pizza oven up near the shed that we've been restoring. At the minute we're pretty happy with just this rough setup that we've got. It's about as rough as we had it before, and it works absolutely fine for us. But a slightly longer term project, which you might see from us this year maybe, is yeah, building an actual proper outdoor kitchen area around here. Believe it or not, our wood is actually one of the better organised things on our homestead. We've got this beautiful wood store, which I built a year or so ago. It has not yet got a roof, but it does kind of serve its purpose in that it keeps all the wood in one place. This is the annoying thing about things being so disorganised. It means that like everything you do, you have to make decisions about where you're going to put stuff because there's not a definitive place. And you're thinking, okay, where can I leave this that's like kind of on the way to where it's eventually going to live? Where can I put it so that I don't have to move it again some other time? Like, where is the most convenient temporary space? And I mean, like, I know it sounds like a small thing, but it just happens all the time, like multiple times a day, and it's like the constant playbook in my head, like, where should I put this? Where does this live? How can I make like not too much work for myself in the future? So it's really a lesson. We should be more organised. We're really working on it. Like just now I've just put the kindling on the side because our main kindling store is full. So yeah, just one thing that we're working on as much as we can this year. I think we will have to come back to chopping down these dead trees when we've got a chainsaw that actually can handle it, or we can borrow one, or someone can come around and help us. So I think that is it for this video. We finished one project, we're not going to finish any more, sorry, but one is better than none. So thank you for watching this video, and we will see you next week.